Support provided by the Chesapeake and Newport News with chef-centric farm-to-table dining. thechesapeake.org. Hi friends, Jay Sennett. Welcome to another edition of Cooking with Jay here in the Jazz Kitchen. Hope all of you are doing well. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We're getting great response on the WHO Public Media social media page for the show, which airs starting at 6 p.m. Sunday evenings on the WHO Public Media Facebook page. And if you can't tune in at 6, you can just scroll down. If it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, just scroll down until you get to the show and you can check it out that way. You see a second person standing here in the Jazz Kitchen with me. And this is my special guest for today's show, Carrie Long. And Carrie, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And you know, the listeners or the viewers, I'm a radio guy, so I say listeners, but you viewers out there may not know Carrie, or some of you may know of her. Carrie, I lived for many, many years in the Greenbrier area of Chesapeake, right off Volvo Parkway, near the country club out there. And there was a fantastic restaurant out there called Passions or Passion is it's singular, right? Passion for many, many years. I'm not sure. Are they still there?
They are still there.
They're still there. Wow. They've been there a long time. Different management.
Right.
They've gone through some management changes. Fantastic restaurant. And several years ago, about 10 years ago, they had a home cook chef competition, right?
Yes.
Passion sponsored this competition. And there were several rounds in this competition. And Carrie participated in this competition and won, I believe, each round, right?
I did. That's what
Congratulations
started.
on
Thank
that.
you.
That was,
yeah.
you were throwing it down multiple times. It's not just get one and get lucky, right? And so she won each award. And tell us some of the things you made on that show.
So I did a pork tenderloin, a spiced pork tenderloin. It was sort of a mystery box challenge. We never knew what the ingredient was going to be until we got there. One of my favorite moments, I made a gourmet hot dog.
So like a chop thing?
Like a chop, didn't know what it was going to be. Yep. You walk in and they're like, today's ingredient is, it was sort of a mix between Chopped and Iron Chef. Wow. And you had 30 minutes to make a dish, and it was various dishes that we had to make throughout the competition, and it was a lot of fun.
So was each round that guess, you didn't know what the ingredient was?
Correct.
Going into it? Wow.
Correct.
Fantastic. And I actually did a show like that. I don't know if you remember that the Food Network teamed up with Sargento, and they had the home chopped food challenge or something to that effect. And I entered that competition, right? And the four ingredients were kale, bacon, oyster crackers, and one of these Sargento cheeses. You could use whatever cheese you wanted to use, right? So I decided to make a bacon scallion crab cake, made kale corn chowder, I made a red quinoa with crispy kale. So I was pretty much going artistic, and I made this poblano cheddar dipping sauce for the crab cake. And I thought I was real proud of my dishes, and obviously thousands of people are competing in this contest. And the winners, or the winners, won, that did win the contest, 5 cheese lasagna, or a stacked, a 6-7 inch high sandwich with the different cheeses. I'm like, really? Yeah. You can't be more creative than that, So anyway, I didn't win that contest, but I know next time though. Okay, I'll make a 17 cheese lasagna. All right, maybe that will get me in the door. Tell us today. So I thought about Carrie when I found out about this, that she won this interesting competition, inviting her on the show. Okay, so tell us and tell our viewers what you're going to make for us.
So I'm going to make the dish that convinced my son to eat scallops, and I'm pretty sure is why my husband married me.
That's a heck of a scallop.
Yeah,
right
it's a
there,
heck of
yeah.
a scallop. But, you know, bacon goes well. You did mention bacon. You know, bacon is a pretty great ingredient. I've lived in Virginia my whole
The
life.
universal flavor.
Universal. So we're going to do scallops, pan-seared scallops in bacon, and you have to have a vegetable. So, of course, we're going to do spinach. And my husband used to like to eat the microwave spinach out of a box. And I was not going to, let that happen anymore. So we're going to use fresh spinach. So he could see, you know, all those flavors together. Okay. And it's super simple. It's a nice light dish, you know, for summer and hot weather. And I think you'll enjoy it.
As a side dish, I made my world-renowned chocolate, actually not chocolate, but they're peanut butter cherry cookies. No, that's not my side dish. But
I still get a cookie though, right?
You said that, yeah. I made the cookies for the crew here and for Carrie. So I was thinking about side dishes. Whenever I have a guest on the show and they make a main course, I want to come up with what I think is a tasty side dish to complement her dish. And today, in this case, I'm going to make corn cakes, right? And I'm using some beautiful sweet corn here. It's actually jalapeno corn cake because I'm using diced up jalapeno pepper. I'm going to put some cheddar cheese in there, a couple of eggs. Now, in here, I have about a half a cup of flour. I put some onion powder in here, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and we're going to put together a nice complimentary corn cake for her. And it's a funny thing, when these corn cakes starts cooking, it's like popcorn. Corn starts popping everywhere, you know. So maybe she get a visor or something. So let's go over here to the stove and let's get busy. We'll turn this on, Carrie.
Perfect.
So now you want to get your bacon going?
Yes.
Now this is gas heat.
The only way to cook.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow this knife,
Okay.
which is one of the best knives. I own one myself because it is like just the best. And I'm just chopping up the bacon. It's a real rough chop. It's not super fancy.
That's a Mayabi.
I love it. My husband bought me one 4 years ago, and it is proven to be the go-to, but I won't let any of the children use it. So.
So you dice up your bacon.
Yeah, dice that up because it's going to be our fat for our scallops to get that really nice crust on them. But it is also going to be a nice crispy element with the spinach. And, you know, I always say that it doesn't have to be, just even like your corn cake, same thing. Simple sometimes is better. And we're just concentrating on flavors that people are super excited about, so.
Okay. I have corn in here. I have 2 eggs, the flour mixture, the diced up. I used a half a jalapeno pepper in here. Okay. Flour with some garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and I didn't mention baking powder. I'm using about a small teaspoon of baking powder in here as well. And with that diced up jalapeno, the cheddar cheese in here, some cheddar cheese, and I will cook these in olive oil. And you know what? Talking about bacon, smell this kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. I mean,
Nothing
the
like
viewers, you should be able to smell what's happening with this bacon in here right now.
There's never enough bacon.
Never enough bacon.
I have a sign in my office says if bacon is wrong, I don't want to be right. So
you've also made these scallops where you wrap the scallops in the bacon.
Yep. That was actually how this dish sort of came about. My husband, I asked him one time when we were still dating what his favorite dish was, and he said it was scallops wrapped in bacon. I did make him for them that day. And then when we got married, I said, I'm not wrapping any more scallops in bacon. But I felt like it was just all the flavors. And then several years later, my son, I made scallops this way, and he now eats scallops.
So when the bacon's done, do you leave the bacon in the pan?
No, I take
do
it
you just
out.
move it to the
Yeah,
side?
I move it actually to the side.
Right.
I do, especially as run a business, a mom and a wife. I like trying to keep things to 1 or 2 pans because I'm the only one who does the dishes. So,
Yeah.
so I usually just, push it to the side. I add a little bit of butter so there's enough fat. The important thing with scallops is you got to get that hard crust and that hard sear. And the only way to do it is to make sure there's enough fat in the pan.
I have my own scallop rule, like, because you get, for me, how I cook mine, I get the pan almost to a point where it's smoking.
Right.
Well, it's very, very hot. And I cook one side of the scallop for 2 minutes exactly, and the flip side for 1:50. Right?
Yeah.
And you get, to me, my taste, you get a perfectly seared scallop each time you do it that way. All right, so I have some olive oil in here, in this little pan.
Oh, they look great just like that. Corn and cheese and
These
jalapeno.
will be kind of the crispy corn cakes. And like I said, we got to watch out here because these things will start popping a little bit, not too much. So you will hear us in a moment. Whoa!
Is it cooking if it's not exciting and fun, right?
Cooking is, and when you get to cook like this in this setting with other people, it's just a beautiful art. It's craft, And put that in here. I'm not going to use the rest of that. Wipe off the hands. Get my spatula over this way.
And I'm going to let my bacon hang out a little bit because speaking of those scallops, we do need to go ahead and get them seasoned a little bit.
So how are you going to season them?
So just a little bit of salt. We don't want to go crazy because the bacon, is salty. And the butcher was kind enough to go ahead and take the little feet off the scallops for me. So I didn't have to do that. No, these are good old from the shore. Eastern Shore scallops. Because when in doubt,
local scallops.
When in doubt, buy local.
Where do you get them from?
I actually got these from the Virginia Beach Farmers Market. There's a gentleman there who has a great little seafood place, and he does a great job. So if I can help it, like I said, I always try to get local. We're gonna let those guys hang out, and our bacon's almost ready.
All right.
We're gonna push our bacon out to the side.
Oh. Sorry about that.
It's gonna hang out there. I'm actually gonna ask you for a pair of tongs because this wooden spoon's not gonna be a good scallop flipper. Perfect.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now, I put this over here.
I love it.
All right.
Oh.
Make sure this.
So how I do my scallops to remember to turn them in the right order, I put them in a circular pattern. So I know when to flip them. Now it's going to get messy.
I'm going to make sure. All right. With these scallops.
Oh yeah.
Here, I'll throw that away, please.
Oh, thank you. Perfect.
I'm going to get a 2D.
Perfect.
Takes out of here.
They look great.
Just
They
a moment.
smell so good.
It's tricky, but you got to really watch them.
Oh, the color's excellent.
Because they can brown darkly very quickly. And you just have to keep an eye on it. Not quite. Almost. Almost, ladies and gentlemen. Almost.
Almost.
So Carrie is making these beautiful scallops in this bacon fat. I say it like that. Bacon fat. And all that does is just bring some deep flavor.
Absolutely.
And so what happens now when the scallops are done? How are you
So when the scallops are done, we're going to reserve them on a plate. So I might need a couple. Now I need a plate.
How many do you need?
I think we'll do 2 plates.
Okay.
All right. We'll share with everybody today.
Do you need a paper towel on any of them to absorb?
I'll be okay.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our spinach right to this.
Right.
And wilt it up. And then add a little bit of butter to finish it. And we'll be ready to go.
And these corn cakes are done.
Oh, those look fantastic.
I was just trying to get this splatter screen so the corn wouldn't pop all over everyone.
We might have needed the splatter screen over here, Jay. That's okay.
So, take a look. These are the corn cakes.
Those are beautiful.
Delicious. My jalapeno corn cakes to complement Carrie's scallop dish.
Awesome.
So that was made fairly quickly.
Yeah. And these are almost done.
Da 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 da. So what got you into cooking?
So I grew up in a multicultural household. My great-grandmother was Chinese. My grandfather was half Portuguese and half Chinese. And I grew up being taught how to cook all different kinds of cuisine from a very young age. And I stood next to my grandparents and great-grandparents. And my mom always made homemade meals for us. So I was very fortunate growing up. I was the kid that took rice to school with an Asian parent, and my love of cooking from there. And then, like you said, Jay, there's nothing like sharing this with other people. And if there is a way that I can show people, love, it's to make food for them. So, all right, this spinach is about done. The only thing that begins with the B that's better than bacon is butter. We're going to finish that a little bit with some butter. And we are almost done. And if you want to hit us with some seasoning real quick, maybe a little salt and pepper on this spinach.
Okay.
Perfect. That spinach is the color we like to see, right?
Yep. How's that?
That's great. Thank you. All right.
Serving plates as
Yeah.
well.
And we're gonna plate this up actually.
And see how.
We're gonna make room for your beautiful corn cake. So.
Look at that big.
Right. Oh. And you've got room for your corn cake right there.
Yep, let's.
Well,
I'll do this. Do it this way.
that's perfect.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, folks. Let's put this up. Carrie, you want to set this over there?
I got
And the
that.
yabi
Absolutely.
over there. Voila.
Fantastic.
Sometimes the smell of this delicious food and to see what's before us, it's hard to explain. I am salivating. Salivating. So, Carrie prepared these pan-seared scallops with some bacon, so using that bacon fat, seasoned, light and seasoned, simply with salt and pepper, okay? The bacon fat, cook the bacon, get the bacon a little bit crispy, then scoot the bacon aside a little bit, then remove the perfectly seared scallops, set them aside on the plate, push the bacon back a little bit, and then use that fat to cook the spinach, to wilt the spinach in the pan just for another minute or two. And then she also added a little bit of butter. Tell us about this butter you're using.
Oh, so yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite butters. It's a little bit of a splurge sometimes, but it's European style butter and unsalted, so that you don't mess with the seasoning of your dish. But it's
premium European style butter.
It is a
unsalted.
gift that I like to give my friends to cook. So the rest of the butter is for you to enjoy.
It will get good use in the house, right? In the Jazz Kitchen, it will definitely get good use in the house. And I made these corn cakes, these jalapeno corn cakes, and I used half a cup of flour. I used half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, some salt and pepper, a small teaspoon of baking powder, okay, and 2 eggs, diced up half. I diced up half of a jalapeno pepper. I removed the seeds, okay. Now, if you want to leave the seeds in, you're going to get yourself, some more heat if you like it that way. I just take the seeds out. And some cheddar cheese. I grated up some cheddar cheese. I use mild cheddar in here to complement, it won't compete so much against the jalapeno, the heat of the jalapeno, but it's a nice complement to that jalapeno pepper. And sweet corn, by the way. And I got some ears of corn, and I took the kernels off the corn with a knife, with my beloved Miyabi, and mixed the flour mixture together with the eggs. Then I add the corn, the jalapeno pepper, and the cheese. And then mix them well till it's like this gooey mess. And I heated up some olive oil in the saucepan and cooked the corn cakes, made like little, just tablespoon, little batches of them in the saucepan. You saw that. And cook a couple of minutes each side. It doesn't take long to cook this stuff. All right. And I thought that's a perfect complement to what Carrie made. So that's congrats.
Well,
that looks fantastic.
I'm excited to try your corn cake as well.
And I just a little extra heat, I just put some of Chang's red chili, the red chili hot sauce, the Korean style hot sauce. But you can use sriracha, whatever you choose. I just decided to use that, add a little extra heat. It complements the jalapeno in there as well. And to go with that bacon and these seared scallops, delicious. Carrie, been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much,
having you
Jay.
on the show.
This is so fun.
and like to get you back sometime again.
I would
so
love
we can
it.
do this, and maybe we can reverse. Maybe I'll cook the main course, and then you can cook a creative side, like I know
like
you
it.
can.
Yeah.
And again, congratulations on winning your competition.
Thank you.
It's been a long time ago, but there's something we as people who love to cook and eat, when we have those kind of accolades, we don't forget that stuff, man. I mean, and it's inspiring for us. And food is not a competition, though. It's food brings people together. That's what it's about. The competitions, yeah, that's fun. People would like to say who's the best, who's this, who's that, who's that. I don't care about that. I just love cooking good food, because that's the bottom line. When you plate your food, what does it taste like and how does it look? I don't care where you studied, who you studied with, or your training, whatever. How does your food taste? That's the bottom line. And good food brings everybody together, right? So from the Jazz Kitchen, I'm Jay Sennett here with my special guest today, Carrie Long. Folks, thank you all for watching. Cooking with Jay airs Sunday evenings starting at 6 on the WHO Public Media Facebook page. And if you can't watch it at 6, again, you can just come back later, scroll down, it stays up on the page. You can see archive editions of the program at the WHO Public Media YouTube channel, or just type in Cooking with Jay, J-A-E, on the YouTube, when you get to YouTube, and a bazillion episodes. I think we're coming up, we're close, or we might have gone over 100. Andre, have we done 100 episodes? I think we may have gone over 100 episodes.
Great.
Can you believe that? And I want to thank the Chesapeake for underwriting Cooking with Jay. And if we air this down the road as an archive show and the Chesapeake's not around underwriting anymore, but you know what? You did underwrite, and we thank you for supporting Cooking with Jay. And if you're part of a business that's watching my show and you kind of like, hey, I'd like to take part in this. I would like my business to get mentioned too and support what's happening here. You can be an underwriter as well. Just contact Diane Rojic at WHRO, and she will help you out and tell you what you need to do. And all those who watch the show, thank you so much. Don't forget about my Senate in Session Jazz Show, Monday through Thursday nights from 9 until 1 on WHRV FM 89.5. Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, Sunday afternoons from 1 until 5, Saturday mornings for the insomnias, from insomniacs, from 1 until 5. And I also host the R&B Chronicles, Friday night from 7 until 8, great soul music happening on WHRV FM 89.5. I do a lot. You know?
You do, you're a busy guy. Oh. Thanks for making time for me today, I appreciate it.
My pleasure, our pleasure. My crew, Andre, thank you very much. Be safe out there, friends, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Cooking with Jay.
Support provided by the Chesapeake in Newport News, catering to the palate of every single resident. More at thechesapeake.org.